Number 11. Yo! So, this week the update is the timeline. So I was talking with my CTO earlier today, and we want to build the basic part of it first. So I explained in the last video the pivot that I'm making. If you didn't see that, you can go back and watch it. But the slight pivot to just students that go to the same college as us, we want to build the basic part of it first. So just, a part where you can upload a feed, answer questions, comment on a community thread, and then also, follow other people. We want to build the basic part first, and then we can add other things like a club page, like students can upload their own classes and stuff like that. But really the basic part, we're planning to be done mid-May. So right now that's 4 weeks away from the time of shooting this video. And we want to introduce it as a beta version and have just, now that we're just doing CSULB students, we can have I have a lot more people I can contact about that. And I can get some, testimonials, some feedback, and then we can improve it throughout the rest of the summer. And then, the biggest thing is going to be fall, right? Because we need to have our shit dialed in. Like I need to go speak at, clubs, or at least reach out to them, have, a process to reach out to students, a process for feedback, because fall is going to be huge, because that's the, when the freshmen are coming in and they need to meet people, or not need to, they want to meet people. They have no idea what the fuck's going on. They need help. They're going to want to, that's when the feeds are going to be the most active, is the fall, because it's, all the freshmen coming in. And then that's also, the biggest rush for any fraternities, sororities, and probably clubs too. That's when they probably get the most members, week of welcome, stuff like that. So we were just kind of talking about it, and we want to speed it up and just have the base thing first, have our friends use it, iterate it, make it better, and then have the product ready to launch before the fall semester. And then we can keep improving it, obviously, but, we want to have it dialed in so that we can really spread it through that, because, it's tough to do it mid-semester because rush is going to be the big thing for that. But, also kids could get help with their schoolwork and whatnot. But, really the time that student organizations, whatever, advertise would be during around rush. And we probably won't have the advertising systems in place yet for the clubs to advertise on the feed. But, just to get the students on the platform, getting them to love the love Archi is kind of the goal. So we're going to try and get a small group of people on the site, preferably people I know, who will give the most honest feedback, since it's a free version. And then, try and just make it perfect and try and make them love it. Keep iterating, keep improving it. And yeah. I think a part of it is when you have such a big goal, and they always say, set a huge, big, hairy goal, whatever the quote is. But what happens is when you become obsessed with that goal and it has a timestamp on it, or, you're not growing at the rate that you thought you were, or, whatever the goal is, then you get in a situation where you're stressed because you're not meeting the deadline. And that's where I think the big goals actually become a detriment to you, because all that really matters is that you do the work today, and you do that every day. That's all that really matters. So a big lofty goal is good because you can deal with a difficult day if you have a compelling tomorrow. So you can kind of see the vision, where you're going. Like there's this one, someone, I think it was Belmar, had this story of, if you're the captain of a ship, you need to know where you're sailing, otherwise you'll arrive nowhere, right? You need a destination, of course. But when you become so obsessed with the destination, and if it gets to a point where if you don't reach that destination, then, you're beating yourself up for it, then I think it becomes more of a detriment to you, and you then burnout and stress and all these things start to come into your life. So, in summary, I think it's a balance, right? I think you have to, know you have to have the tools in your tool shed, right? You have to know, okay, focus on the present moment. I'm focused on today, doing the right things every day, but then also have the destination in the back of your head. So then okay, this is where I'm going, but I'm focused on today. And I think when you start to feel that stress, you start to feel that anxiety, just what's helped me is just calm down, stop thinking about, the long-term vision, stop thinking about what you're going to build it as. Just think about what you can do today. That has helped me instrumentally. Just recently, and this is even before the project was launched. So I'm really grateful that I learned that now, and, hopefully I can use it in the future, and I'll update you guys when that time comes. So I want to talk about something now that I really haven't heard anyone speak about, but it's kind of ringing true just in my head at the moment. The concept of burnout. And I may have talked about this in a previous video, I can't really remember, but I haven't really heard that many people speak on burnout. It's just kind of more of, they just say, yeah, you just got to push through it. But I actually think that burnout's caused from stress. And you get stressed out because you're putting expectations on what you want the business to be and who you want yourself to be. And so I actually think you can, and this has actually helped me, you can help alleviate your exhaustion and the burnout that you're feeling by just focusing on the present moment, right? So I was getting stressed out because I knew that, now that we have interns, I have a CTO, like a partner, I'm going to have a lot of responsibility. I'm going to have, people to provide for, and, these interns, they're unpaid, so they're doing it for experience. So I need to, craft a vision and with the CTO and them build the company to a place where it's reputable enough where they can put that on a resume and use it, or, build the company to a point where we can retain the best interns, right? That's the ultimate goal with interns in general. And so I was putting a lot of stress on myself because, things weren't perfect. And I think a part of it is when last thing I wanted to go over is hustlers and why I've really narrowed my scope. I have some friends that are, the quote unquote hustlers, and these people are great to be around, and they're very motivating, and they make money. But what I've kind of realized is that when you do too many things, you spread out your energy. And the problem with that, you'll make money with all of them if you do the right things, but it's not a linear growth, it's exponential. And say you have four business ventures, I have one, right? So you're doing 4, and let's say you do 12 hours a day of work, so that's 3 each, right? So 3 hours on each. Or if I just do 12 hours on one, okay? Or maybe I have, a job on the side, so I just get whatever, because you have to pay the bills, right? Those 4 are going to make more money in the short term, but the compounding effect of all the effort you put into one thing will far surpass anything that those 4 will ever turn into. So it's a short term, not necessarily detriment, but you're taking the less money in the short term for the potential of the long term. And I think if you stick with it long enough, you'll reach that potential. This is very true in venture capital firms, right? They always say how high is up, right? There's no point in them investing in something that doesn't have the potential to be world breaking, or doesn't have the the mass potential to sell for whatever their threshold is, right? Like in Peter Thiel's book, 0 to 1, he goes into this idea that Facebook, obviously Facebook's massive. Facebook was a better, like, more gains, more profits than any other of their venture capital investments combined, and then their number two investment was more than any other of their firms combined, besides Facebook, obviously. And so it's really that if you want to get rich, it's one thing, right? None of the entrepreneurs in any of those of their top firms had another side hustle. Like, I can't think of one example where, I mean, maybe at the start they did, but I can't think of one example where, a really big company had a founder that had another business on the side. If anyone has ever heard of that ever, I'd love to hear about it. It's really just the people like Elon Musk who are just absolutely fucking workaholics, work 18 hours a day. So then they work 9 hours on two different ones. So they're basically working full time on both of them. That's the only example. And I mean, Elon Musk, if you want to use him as the example, I mean, it's kind of an outlier, but I mean, if there's other people, but I'm more so talking about, because those are both home run hits. I'm more so talking about, like, there's no tech startup entrepreneur that's also drop shipping. Like, and maybe if there is, I think he's severely decreasing the odds that he makes it. Just my personal opinion. So that's something I've learned. I just wanted to share. Yeah, narrow that scope. It helps.